Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how I create my own shimmer sprays. Now there are lots of different methods out there and lots of different videos on this, so I'm just showing you the way that I do it today. I use these mica powders or pigment powders. I get these from AliExpress, and if I kind of shine them in the light right, you can see that they have a different color to them. The one on the very left is the yellow, there's a blue and then a purple and then an orangey red color. Now these do not have the color in them, so to speak. They just kind of shimmer that color. Now I also get these little spray bottles. I don't like to make up a whole heap of spray at once because I don't use these super often. But I do like having them on hand. They're super easy to mix up, so you can use whatever spray bottle that you want. If you want to make them colored, this is what I use. So this is like a liquid dye. I am a primary school teacher, so I use these in the classroom quite a bit. So yeah, they're just a pigmented painting dye, but you could play around with whatever you have. Maybe even food coloring and things would work as well. So I'm going to be making up a blue one today just to show you guys. So I'm using a little pipette, and I will link everything that I can down below for you guys in the description box. And all I do, and there's no maths to this, I just fill up the little spray bottle with a little bit of water, about 3/4 or so full. And then I use the pipette to put in, I would say maybe 3 or 4 drops of the dye, just however much you want. If you want it darker, you put in more. If you want it to be a light blue, you would put in less. So whatever you are looking for. And then I just add in a little bit of the end of my palette knife, depending again on how shimmery you want it to be. There is plenty of shimmer powder in these bottles. They will last you forever. So I am not worried about that when I put a little bit in my bottles. Then I click the lid on, I give them a little shake, and we are good to go. I will just show you what this blue one looks like, and then we are going to make a card project with these today. So I just want to show you not only how to create them, but how I use them in my card making too. Now again, as I said, I will link to these little spray bottles that I use. However, use any size spray bottle that you want at all, and it will work just fine, I'm sure. So I'm going to put this aside, and I'll show you in just a minute what the final product is when it dries. However, this one here I just wanted to show you is done without any color in it. So this is just the kind of pinky purple shimmer powder, and all I do is just put in water and the shimmer powder, and that's it. And the great thing about these is that they do not rub off at all. So here is the yellow dye that I made up, and shimmer is notoriously hard to catch on camera and kind of get a really good view of it for you guys. So I am trying here, but it's really hard to catch how shiny that these panels are. So this one here, I just sprayed the red in the top right and the yellow in the bottom left, and they kind of mixed all together. So it made a really nice kind of orangey color there in the middle as well. And I just thought I would quickly show you, this is some chipped sapphire. I've just covered a piece of white cardstock in chipped sapphire distress oxide ink. And I also did it with the same piece, but I sprayed it with that pinky purple shimmer spray that I have there. And this is what it comes out like. So it does change it quite a bit, and it is very shimmery. Again, if you want less, then use less spray or water it down a little bit more. This is some black cardstock, and you can see what it does on there. It's absolutely beautiful. As I said, this is a pretty strong amount of shimmer, so it's up to you what you kind of go for. And then the blue piece that we sprayed out before, it's had a minute or two to dry in between me filming this, and so you can see the shimmer now that it's a little bit drier. And again, hard to catch the shimmer, but I think you can pretty much see some of it there. Now, as a side note, I just wanted to tell you guys, I do not make up a spray of every color. As you know, I don't have a big craft space, and so all I do is I have one of all of the primary colors. So I have the red, the yellow, and the blue, and I have a plain shimmer spray, and that is all I make up because I can pretty much mix up colors from there. Or if I want to get a lighter tone, then I will just add a bit more water or a bit more of the plain shimmer spray. So I just play with it from there. So you can make up as many colors as you want, obviously, but that's what I do. Now here I just added some Mowed Lawn and Twisted Citron onto a piece of watercolor paper. I let it dry in between, and then I'm going to add my plain shimmer spray. Now you can see it's just really wet at the moment, so I'll put that aside for a minute and come back and show you the result in a minute. This yellow one here is going to be my background. So I am spraying it mainly with yellow, and then I have the red, which I put a light spritz over top, and then I'm actually going to add a couple more into the corners to kind of make it a little bit more orangey in the top right and the bottom left. And then I just want to cover up that little bit up there as well. I missed a little bit and decided I wanted to go for a more complete coverage. I'm going to pop that aside, and this is the stamp that I'm going to be working with today. Now we are going to be doing some paper piecing, so that's why I created that green background. That's going to be the leaves and the stem of my flower, and the background was the yellow one that we did. This piece here is the shaded lilac distress oxide blended onto some paper with the clear shimmer spray on top, and then this one is the red and the blue shimmer sprays mixed together. I am going to stamp the top head of the flower on this part. As I said, we're going to be paper piecing, so I'm putting this flower together using all different pieces of paper. So I wasn't sure at this point which purple piece I wanted to use, so I went ahead and stamped them both just because I thought I would decide later. And whilst I have the stamp out, I just want to get all of the stamping done. Now again, you don't need a stamping platform for this at all, but it does make life a little bit easier. This one that I'm using here, I get lots of questions about it. This one is probably my favorite one, and I do have a few of them. It is actually one from a shop that we have here in New Zealand called Lilac. I know it's in Australia as well, and it is the stamping platform that they have from there. Now I'm not sure, I think someone told me that you could get it on Amazon or eBay as well, which is really either the same or really similar to this one, but this one is definitely one of my favorites. So here is our background all complete and nice and dry, and you can see the shimmer. It is so beautiful. I was loving this background piece. I am going to cut it down a little bit because I use the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and I want to cut it down slightly to create my border, so it will be 4 by 5 1/4 inches. I'm going to line it up. The bottom of the stem will be hanging off just a little bit because I don't need that part, but other than that, this is one of those stamps where it takes up almost the whole page and it automatically becomes the focal point like this. So it's a really good one if you just want one stamp to do kind of the whole job. Now here's all my pieces of paper that I stamped, everything brought together, and I am going to do some fussy cutting. So I am using my little Tim Holtz scissors. These are the haberdashery ones, and I love these scissors for fussy cutting. They have been great. And the leaves was the most tricky part of this to fussy cut. Obviously the head of the flower is super easy because it's just got nice round edges, but these leaves are not tricky at all either, so it didn't put me off at all. I'm quite selective about what I like to fussy cut. I definitely don't pick images with too many tricky parts to them. I don't mind fussy cutting, but I don't like it to be a massive job ahead of me either. So then it's really important to go around the edges with a brush marker. This is one tip that I can't stress enough, particularly when you stamp in black. It just covers all of your mistakes and all of those little tiny bits and pieces when you have fussy cut an image, and it just hides them all with that black ink. So it is a really good tip. Now here, just to kind of keep everything really cohesive, I am taking some black soot distress oxide ink. You could use some black acrylic paint, you could use black watercolors, you could use some black marker, scribble it on an acrylic block, add a tiny little bit of water, and then add some splashes around our stamp there. Now I wasn't worried about getting it in the middle because obviously I'm paper piecing, so everything will go on top of this image. The reason that I did stamp this image onto my background first is because I didn't want to fussy cut out all of those little bits that come out the top of the flower, so that saves me a lot of pain. Now I'm adding this tiny little sentiment that says miss you, and those 3 little love hearts which just finish off the sentiment for me. I have fussy cut out the leaves and the flower head. This is so simple. I'm just using some Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's what's inside my glue bottle. And I stick this all down. And then for the final details, I'm adding some white gloss Nuvo drops. And then I'm going to use a glaze pen. I was actually going to use some black Nuvo drops, but I thought it would just be a little bit too tricky with the nozzle that's on them. They were just slightly too fine. So if I hold it up here, you can kind of see the shine on that glaze pen too. So it is a really good, easy finishing touch. And that is my card for today. You can see the beautiful shine on this project. So I hope you enjoyed seeing how I make my homemade shimmer sprays, and I hope that you got some inspiration from this video today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!